Hello everyone, we're back. Season 5 of the My Greek Island podcast. Can you believe it, Maria? With your hosts, George Tsunias
and Maria Petraku. Yeah, I'm really excited. Another season. Who would have thought that we'd actually get here?
I know. Season 5 and the summer is behind us now. Sad face.
Well, I'm heading to Greece again.
But all right,
anyway,
for some.
Sods. But anyway, in today's episode, just like me, I'm heading in September. But we thought that a great episode to start season 5 with is to actually give you some great destinations in Greece for a cheeky getaway in October.
What a lovely time of year to be in Greece, because it's still relatively warm, I'd say. However, as always, before we dive in, if you're not following us on the gram, head over now and hit that follow button on the Instagram handle at My Greek Island, and make sure you check out the website, which is available in the show notes, to read the ever-growing catalogue of blogs that Maria is painstakingly hard writing and getting content over to you.
I love the way you put that.
Was that a good plug?
That was like an amazing plug, George.
Fist I'm in actually the air trying to get the enthusiasm through.
I think I'm blushing. Anyway, but also if you do enjoy the podcast, please head over, give us a rating, a review, or maybe even share it with a couple of friends. If each of you share it with just one person, imagine how many more people can listen to us, and that way we can keep coming back with more content.
And who knows, our podcast could go viral for 2024 My Greek Island Inspo. But without further ado, shall we get this episode started?
Let's do it. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the My Greek Island podcast, dedicated to take you, the wanderlust, on a journey through Greece.
There are 227 inhabited Greek islands. Which one will you visit next?
My Greek Island, with your hosts George and Maria.
So as we said at today's start of today's episode, we are giving you some destinations you can visit in October, some of which you may even get some beach time. I don't even think it's May. I think you will get beach time. I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if it might be a little bit cooler. I would be at the beach.
Yeah.
So the month of October.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, I tend to agree with you, but there are some destinations that you will get better weather than others.
Yes.
But even if you don't, and it's a bit cold, the sea is warm.
It's the warmest time of year because it's
yeah.
had all summer to warm up. So the month of October, as you said, tends to be quite pleasant. Caveat, I have been swimming in Athens in November, so October is nothing. There's cooler temperatures, quieter, less tourists. You've been away in October sometimes. I think we're going to mention that. So what's the first destination we are covering today, Maria?
Well, I mean, my Greek Islanders, I dare you to guess. It couldn't be any other destination other than Crete. I mean, why wouldn't it be? Crete is always a good idea. And I would actually even plug all year round. It's a good idea. And we have spoken a lot about this island in general. We've mentioned it on a lot of episodes. So clearly there's a reason for this. And if you've ever been or you're going to go, you will understand why when you do go. So just to give you a bit of, background info and some facts, Crete is the largest Greek island. It's the southernmost region of all of Greece. And part of one of the islands that sort of belongs to Crete, which is called Gavdos, and we've covered on another episode, is the southernmost part of Europe. Now, a great thing about this island is that it offers two international airports. You've got one in Chania and one in Iraklio, but it also offers a third domestic airport. So you've got loads of ways to fly to this island. And a lot of airlines still fly internationally directly to Crete during October. But if you can't find a direct flight, you can always fly via Athens. Crete is known for its clean, exotic beaches, its rich history and culture, a very long list of notable people, excellent food, local delicacies, a unique morphology. It's got Venetian architecture in many areas of the island, and believe me when I say this, you will never forget the hospitality of the locals. I think they're the friendliest people in all of Greece. Without wanting to say that the Greeks are not friendly, all of Greeks are hospitable, but I think Crete they've sort of like taken hospitality to another level. It's suitable for all types of travelers, whether you've got kids, you've not got kids, you're going solo, you're going as a couple, you're going with friends. It's got something for all of you. Do you want adventure? Do you want to relax? Got you covered. And I must admit, in October, you can get some great beach weather. Some years, even in November, you can get some great beach weather. So, and it won't be as hot as it is in July and August. So you can actually, the beach time can actually be a bit more pleasant, and it definitely will be empty, and you will be able to enjoy a lot of beaches, not entirely to yourself, but you will have you'll be more comfortable than you will during the peak months.
Okay, sounds great. What are your top picks? Because we're going to have top picks for each of the islands. So give us some of the top picks of people should put on their map.
I think beach-wise, Elafonisi, Balos, Breveli, Vai. And then you have, I guess, cultural-wise and history-wise, the ancient site of Knossos. You have the ruins on the island of Spinalonga, which was a leper colony and has an amazing and interesting history. Victoria Hislop wrote a book about it called The Island, which is based on historic facts of Spinalonga. Definitely an amazing read. The Samaria National Park and the Gorge. The monastery of Breveli, the Venetian harbour in Chania. I find it the most romantic spot that I've ever been to, and I'm not very romantic, my Greek Islanders.
I was going to say, where did that word come from? It came out, your mouth was like, Maria saying something's romantic, okay.
That's the first.
Yeah.
I love the villages in the region of Sfagia. And then you have the White Mountains, or in Greek, as we say, the LEFKO, which I think is definitely a highlight of the island. Is there anything you want to add?
I mean, the beach is stunning, like really stunning. But one of the beaches that I've been to is Breveli Beach. It's where the river meets the sea. It's on the southern part of the island. I'm not sure it'd be very suitable for kids because it does require you to walk down and get up some steep steps. But I recall that you could hire pedalos and paddle boards like in the river bit. It's very, very nice. The other thing I was going to say, because you talked about adventure, and people will know by now that I love a bit of adventure, dragging you along sometimes. Although I think now you're probably more accustomed to wanting a bit of the adventure. The Samaria Gorge trek, which we talked about on a previous episode about treks in Greece, which is on our bucket list to do. And I think October would be quite a good time of year as well to do it. So
100%. Yeah. I think many of the treks overall, and especially some of the treks that we mentioned during the episode that we will add in the show notes, October is probably the best time to do those treks.
Yep. And as well as the gorges, there are also some waterfalls that you could find. So I think it'd be a great time to get those walking boots on and go. And obviously, if you're into the history, the Minoan Palace of Knossos, very good day out. And obviously, if you're not in the height of season, it's not going to be as hot. So epic sort of thing to do.
Exactly. Although caveat, this is a very big island. The distances are quite big. So depending on the time that you're going to spend there, I would either recommend focusing on a specific region or being up for a lot of driving, because so quite a few of the places that we mentioned as top tips, they're not close to each. Some of them are not close to each other. So just bear that in mind. Check them out on the. Yeah, you need to plan. Check them out on the map. If you do, however, want to focus on the region of Chania, My Greek Island has you covered. I wrote an ebook for a 7-day itinerary, which does cover a lot of the beaches as well. So, and it's based on 1 week there. So lots of tips and tricks of what to do in a specific region of Crete within 1 week. One thing before we move on to the next destination, though, is another point which cannot not be spoken about when we talk about Crete is the gastronomy. The food on this island is literally on another level. Make sure you zip it before you get there so you can actually accommodate those extra kilos that I guarantee you will be gaining there. And it's just, I mean, they produce, I think the majority, the island is very rich in its production. So, and it is evident from the taste. The food is just so good there. I just can't stop talking about it. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, in terms of gastronomy, we're going to do more episodes, I think, on food because it's a joint passion. You really love your food, and I think we could shed a spotlight more on Greek food dishes, different types, and
yes, absolutely,
there's scope there.
Exactly. Oh, definitely. So, my Greek Islanders, do you want to learn more about Crete? We do have 2 episodes on Chania. I've got a blog post on Chania as well. All of that will be included in the show notes. And I do think, George, that we probably need to do an episode covering one of the other 3 regions of Crete.
Yeah, to share the love.
Exactly. But
and where can people get your ebook?
So everything is on the website. Everything's on the website, but everything that we mentioned will also be plugged in the show notes.
On the show notes. Great.
Amazing.
What are we on to next?
Yeah, well, I think I'm going to hand over to you now.
It is to me. So the next island that we're going to cover, we haven't yet covered it, although we did feature in a local newspaper of this island.
Yes, we did. And
you forgot.
No, I didn't forget, but okay. We did say that we were going to cover more islands from that region, but we just have not got round to it. We've got so much on our list.
Yes, so the island that we're proposing here is Rhodes in the eastern part of Greece. Beautiful beaches again, historic old town. That is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So I think was there 8 or was there 18 in Greece?
We should check that.
Yeah, we should check that. But it's a UNESCO Heritage Site. So unfortunately, Rhodes was in the news this year for the devastating wildfires that ravaged part of the island. And just like many of the Greek islands, they rely on tourism, but it still remains a gem of an island to visit. And I have a dear friend of mine, Zoe, shout out to Zoe, who is from Rhodes, goes there every year. I think she goes more than once a year sometimes. It does have, just like Crete, an international airport serving many European cities, as well as Athens and Thessaloniki. Not sure you'd want to take the ferry from Athens. I think it takes like 24 hours. I mean, you might want to do that as an adventure, but not sure you would. And suitable for all types of travelers, families, couples. You can do some adventure. You can chill. There's a bit for everything. I believe you've been to this island, haven't you, Maria?
I have.
Do you know Rhodes Old Town? There's an Acropolis. It's not the only Acropolis is in Athens.
So I did not. Although I have been,
Rhodes has an Acropolis,
and it's got a castle. Like there's a castle, and I've been in the old castle, which is absolutely stunning and beautiful, and definitely one of the highlights of the island that cannot be missed. But I did not know that it was called that it had an.
Well,
Acropolis.
there is an Acropolis of Rhodes, but the Grand Castle or Palace is actually one of the best preserved in the Mediterranean.
And it is amazingly preserved. It is amazingly preserved.
Yeah. I think one of the images that comes to mind of people going to Rhodes is Lindos village, which is dominated. That also has the Acropolis on top, and it's like on top, and then below, it's a very picturesque and sort of it's features in many guides for Rhodes, so one to definitely visit. So some of the things we would kind of recommend as top picks is, if you are in Rhodes, there's day trips to the islands of Chalki or Simi, which are smaller islands that you can easily access. Another thing is the Valley of the Butterflies, which is found on the western side of Rhodes. It's approximately 27 kilometers from Rhodes City, and it's a natural reserve unique of its kind. And obviously, as its name indicates, it's overwhelmed in spring and autumn with butterflies. So certainly something that you could experience. And there are tours that take you on that, or if you have a car, you could choose to drive there on your own. So I think there's a bit of everything. And also, as it is eastern part of Greece, you tend to get nicer weather than perhaps like the western side of Greece. So you could be in luck with the nicer weather too.
Exactly. Should we move on to the next one?
We should. So we've done Rhodes. What's next? This one, you love this island as well.
I mean,
we love all the islands. It does seem a bit like we're like, oh, we love this island. We love this island. But we actually do.
Yeah. No. So next up is Santorini, which if you follow the My Greek Island page, you'll see that I have been multiple times. Like I think over the past 3 years, I've been 2 to 3 times every year. Haven't been yet this year, which is weird. And I'm going to try and organize a trip in October. I've sort of managed to gather loads of friends there that actually live on the island, and I always try and go back to see them. So Santorini, or Thira, which is the official name, is, surprise, surprise, one of the most popular destinations in the world and one of the most visited Greek islands. My personal favorite time to visit Santorini is end of September, beginning of October, although I will caveat that sometimes you can get a bit of windy weather or it can get a bit cold, but nothing to a point where you're not going to want to visit the island. It's cooler, it's easier to walk around, there's less people because the island literally does get so much tourism during the summer months, and during those months it's also extremely hot, so I personally don't prefer it. So how to get there? It also offers an international airport, and I flew from London, I think beginning of October, direct, and it flies directly back, so you do get a lot of international direct flights in October still. Suitable for, I'd say all, but I would probably say mainly adults. So I don't see it as a great destination to take younger children. But if you have older children that you want to take, there are a few great museums that you can visit. So top things to do in Santorini. Number one, and we've got an episode on the wines, is the wineries. Santorini is very famous for its wine production, and specifically it's extremely famous, although it's not the only variety, it's very famous for a white variety called Spitiko. So make sure to visit a winery or 2 or 3 or all of them, depending on, how you're finding them. Number 2, gastronomy. The island does, given that it's so popular, does have some very good restaurants, and of all ranges as well. So you can get a very expensive and fine dining meal in Santorini if you want to, but you can have something more casual that it's also quite great as well. Additionally, a new kid on the block, which I want to mention, is a place in the village of Megalochori called the Spitiko, where if you like the food that you're trying at like one of the local tavernas in Santorini, you can actually go and have a cooking class and learn how to make these dishes yourself. And also Megalochori, where this place is located, is one of my favorite villages on the island also. And hopefully on this season, we will be hosting the Spitiko at some point, so they can come along and tell us all about what you can get up to with these cooking classes.
I'd love to do like a remote cooking class. Maybe they don't do that, but I'm just like
Let's
cook
see.
remotely and do a podcast at the same time. That would be so fun. Not so fun for editing, but pretty fun experience.
Yeah, we'd need to video it. But anyway, just to close on the gastronomy, some of the restaurants, cafes, brunch places, bars do have exceptional views of the caldera. So if you want to have a meal or a drink or a coffee or brunch with a view, you can. And that's another great thing about the island. Next up, that I cannot not talk about when I talk about Santorini, is the villages. I think they are so underrated when we talk about Santorini. Everyone's always thinking about the views and the churches with the blue domes, but the villages are gorgeous. And I'm going to plug 3 here. My favorite are PYRGO, Megalochori, and Emporio. Those are my 3 favorite villages on the island. Definitely worth visiting. The island also offers treks. We also cover this on our trekking episode, with the most famous route being from Fira to Ia, where you can get amazing views. And
Are
then,
you going to be doing that trek? Have you done it?
I've not done it. I've done other treks on the island.
Well, you need to do it if you're going this
I'm
year.
waiting
so
to go with you, George, so we can do it
Is that his
together.
excuse? Okay, fine. Excuse. But if you do go without me, maybe you should try it. And let us know.
Absolutely.
Give your review.
And then the last thing is Santorini. As we all know, is extremely famous for its sunsets, but I would not underestimate the sunrise. It's also equally gorgeous and definitely the perfect time to be snapping some shots, because you get...
So being romantic, I was like, oh my God.
Second time in one episode. No,
Yeah.
George. Next year again, I'm going to be talking about romance. So you can get some amazing pictures at sunrise because it's got perfect light, but you will not get the amount of people that you will have around you at sunset. So bear that in mind. So yeah, I would definitely recommend not missing a sunset or a sunrise. And of course, Ia is the most famous part of Santorini to see the sunset, but there are other parts to see it as well. So just bear that in mind. And then one more thing, just before we head off on the next destination, I want to plug one thing for our vegan friends. So I don't know if any of you following the Instagram page will see that at some point I visited Santorini and I stayed at it's a vegan hotel called Mod Santorini. I was very fortunate to stay there just before they officially opened. And this year I've been watching how they have developed their business, and my mouth keeps watering. They've brought in a vegan chef and they have taken the food at this hotel to another level. They're offering a gastronomy experience also to non-guests of the hotel, which includes a 4-course lunch, or you can even take away if you want to, and also vegan food and vegan wine tours. So bear that in mind if you're vegan. Have a look at Mod Santorini. I can definitely vouch. I've stayed there. Best sleep ever. Christina, you know what I'm talking about. You can literally slow down at this hotel and enjoy things. So check that out. And of course, we have 2 episodes on Santorini. So check those out. And there's also a blog post.
Sounds really good. I'm not sure it'd be one for kids then to go there with the vegan hotel to like chill. I don't know.
I mean, it depends what you're looking, but I don't think that Santorini in general is an island that you want to be taking younger children. I think it's a place you should be going solo with your partner or with friends. That's how I see it. Personally, I usually go solo to Santorini or with one friend, and that for me is the perfect combination.
Very good.
Yes. So what are you going to tell us
time
about now, George?
Well, we're going on to the next destination, which, surprise, surprise, it is not an island. We haven't talked about it that much, I don't think. I'm not sure we've really mentioned it. We need to do a bit more of a spotlight on it. It's where I was actually born.
Ooh.
So I was born in Thessaloniki, which is Greece's second city. I actually grew up in Chalkidiki, which is near Thessaloniki, but I was born in Thessaloniki. It is a popular tourist destination, mainly due to its proximity to Chalkidiki. However, I'm really pleased to see that in recent years it's becoming more and more of a city break destination due to its food scene, which you vouch for, I vouch for, you certainly vouch for.
I would definitely. So I've been going on city breaks to Thessaloniki for years. I usually tend to go in like April, May time because it is cold in the winter, and I don't, how I struggle with winter destinations. But I would definitely recommend it for a city break. And sometimes it can be even more fun than Athens. Not that I want to, put it higher than Athens, because you know how much I love Athens, but because it's a smaller city.
And compact.
Everything it's compact, exactly. So if you're staying in the city centre, you can be everywhere on foot. You don't need it's so easy to navigate Thessaloniki. There's great shopping. There is great food.
Shopping is it was mainly women's fashion, but so many boutiques. I was like, So I
absolutely
just
love
recently
shopping in Thessaloniki, and they also have some amazing jewelry shops. So actually, one of the necklaces I'm wearing, I think I bought about 15 years ago in Thessaloniki.
So yeah, it's good to see that it's becoming more and more of a city break. I would say it's suitable for all types, less so for kids due to the nature of a trip. So Thessaloniki has an international airport, just like many of the islands. So you do get international flights. Probably, well, you do get all year round to Thessaloniki, but obviously in the winter, less routes available. It's really easy access to downtown, whether it's by taxi or by bus. However, if you take the bus and you arrive late and the kiosk is closed, you need to have coins to get your ticket on the bus. They don't accept cash and they don't accept card. So have coin. It's like €1.80, so it's not a lot, but I was like...
So you mean they need the exact change?
No, you just put it into the machine on the bus. There's no other way. If
right.
the sales kiosk is closed.
Let's hope that changes, because I
it
don't
needs
think
to change.
Yeah.
It's not, yeah. Lots of panicked tourists when I was there, and I was like, well, there's no option to pay. Like, how am I, you know? So I just had a €5 note. Anyway, so the top picks that we would suggest, the food is a whole thing. The White Tower, which you will not miss. It's really great at sunset. There's lots of museums, Archaeological Museum of Thessaloniki, the Jewish Museum of Thessaloniki, and if museums are not your thing, just wander around the city streets because, as we said, it's very compact.
I'm gonna shock you now. There's a very romantic song that says "Ston LEFKO, Don PYRGO."
Are you okay, hun?
I'm all right.
Like, what is going on?
Do you know the song I'm talking about? It says at the White Tower. I took your kisses. Πήρα τα φιλιά σου.
How cute! Are you gonna put that song in the show notes?
I'll put it in the show notes. I'll find it and put it in the show notes. My God, but yeah, that's the maximum romance, my Greek Islanders, that you're getting out of me for this year.
We said about it being a food scene, and actually UNESCO named it Greece's first city of gastronomy in 2021.
Amazing.
Now, some of the things it's most famous for, is bougatsa, which is a layered phyllo pastry, which is stuffed with either cheese or with like a sweet semolina custard, which is my favorite. It's topped with cinnamon and icing sugar. It's amazing for breakfast.
I like the sweet one as well.
Epic,
so you can either get a savoury one or a sweet one. I also prefer the sweet one. It is
the
epic.
Sweet one.
And they're sold everywhere, like literally anywhere and everywhere. People are just cutting them up, putting them in small pieces and just shoving them in a bag, and then you're gone.
Yeah, and I'm like, there's so many, and by the end of the day, like, most of them have been cleared and eaten, like, when you walk past bakeries and stuff. I'm like, how many people are eating these? But I mean, people do. The other thing they're famous for is Trigona Panoramatos, which is an area of Thessaloniki. Again, it's phyllo, which is stuffed with a golden syrup. They're also filled with like a velvety custard, and they're like, dipped in syrup. Yum. Yeah, so very indulgent, very, very famous. And
so definitely Thessaloniki is there waiting for all of you sweet tooths to go.
Yes.
If any of you have a sweet tooth, head to Thessaloniki. It will not disappoint in any way.
Even if you don't have a sweet tooth, you'll get one while you're there.
Yeah, but I think if you do have a sweet tooth, it's got an extra bonus to add to it. I mean, even the sweet shops. What's a sacharoplastio in English?
Like a patisserie.
Patisserie, yeah. Even the patisseries are on another level. And I'm not one to eat sweets unless it's an orange pie.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm not like an ice cream fan. I'm not that much of a sweet tooth. But then you go to Thessaloniki and you pass the patisseries and you're just like, I want to eat that and that and
the
that.
Smell.
Oh my God, the smell! Literally, people. If you go to Thessaloniki, just follow your nose. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Another area to go to is Thessaloniki Old Town, or as it's referred to, Anopoli. Features cobbled streets, really amazing views of the city. This was the former Ottoman quarter, and there was used to have a large population of Jews lived there. And a large part of the old town was actually destroyed in 1917 with a huge fire. And on that note, something I didn't realize or didn't know until recently was up until World War II, Thessaloniki had the largest Jewish population outside of Israel. and almost none of the population kind of remained. So it was lots of cultures coming together. So another reason why the food scene is so rich. You get lots of different influences. And weather dependent, if you're in Thessaloniki, you could go to Chalkidiki for the day or an overnight stay with amazing beaches and relatively quite near if you have a car. And then for our history lovers, I haven't done this, which my bad, because I've lived there and I have not visited these places. But for our history lovers, you could visit Pella or Vergina. So Pella is the ancient capital of Macedonia and the birthplace of Alexander the Great. We all know who he is. So you can explore archaeological sites. And then Vergina, another UNESCO World Heritage Site. You can visit the royal tombs of Vergina, which are believed to belong to the family of Alexander the Great. So you would need to do this as a tour or take your car because it's a bit of a drive. And then finally, for our adventure seekers, and something we will be doing, Mount Olympus. Yes, we are doing it. For the adventurers, you can book an organized hike. It's not too near Thessaloniki, but there's departures that go from there and also Thessaloniki, but from Thessaloniki and also Athens, but Thessaloniki is the closest to it. And yeah, something that we will have to do.
I absolutely love your confidence of we.
Yes.
I think I'm going to stay for the desserts and you can head off to Mount Olympus and I will wait for you.
Okay, well, I'm sure I'll find someone to go hiking with me to Mount Olympus. And yeah, that's it for Thessaloniki. So great overall sort of place. So what's the last? I think we're going on to our last one, aren't we? So
we are. Okay, so last on our list for today is, of course, the vibrant capital city of Athens. Now, Athens is sometimes referred to as the concrete jungle, or as we say in Greek, Tsimentoupoli, and that is due to a significant and sharp increase in the population post-World War II, where a lot of people were leaving their villages or their islands and moving to Athens in order to find more opportunities to work. It's the most populous part of Greece, with approximately 40% of the country's whole population concentrated in Athens. The city's history and the country's history is evident wherever you look and wherever you go, and it's dominated. It's like a walking museum, a bit like Rome, where you're walking around and you see the various things. With, of course, the Parthenon on the Acropolis being the most famous and prominent building in all of Athens. You can see it from multiple spots, and it is, yes, breathtaking. In case you've not been and have not seen it. Super easy to reach Athens practically all year round, because the international airport does cover flights from multiple countries all over. So it's definitely a place that you can get to all year round without worrying, and definitely in October.
And I think it's safe to say that Athens and Greece in general this year has been extremely popular, to the extent that in Athens, it literally saw it being swamped with tourists, to the extent that there was a limit on the number of people could go to the Acropolis introduced by the government. And this was also exacerbated by the heat wave because they had to close it at certain times. And I'm sure lots of people that went didn't get to experience Acropolis. So October would be a perfect time, and you can see it, leisurely, not rushed.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't have the crowds, so...
Exactly. Although, again, I would say that Athens is for all types of travelers, solo travelers as well. But again, I'm probably going to plug here that it's probably it will be difficult due to the way that the city's laid out, and there's a lot of walking and there's a lot of uphill and downhill. I'm not sure how convenient it would be for people with younger children.
Yeah. So just lots of walking.
Yeah.
Anyone that's been to Athens with me, so my stepdad, and we had some friends when we went in January, I took them on the walk, and all they remember from it is like that time when you took us walking all around Athens, but you get to see it on feet like the best, but it is a lot of walking.
I think that's the only way to experience not just Athens but any city in general, is to walk, right? And
it is.
I think strolling through Athens is just one of the great things to do, so it should not be missed. So, I never complain when we go walking.
You don't?
Maybe you should be taking me with you next time.
You never
to
complain
Athens.
when we go walking.
In Athens?
Oh, in Athens, no.
I was talking about Athens. Let's keep
Athens. Okay.
keep to the subject.
Let's not bring it. Okay.
Anyway, so let's have a look at some top picks. Yeah. So clearly, George already mentioned a lot of walking. So make sure you've got a good pair of walking shoes because the city is definitely meant to be experienced on foot. Key points of interest to go, especially if it's your first time, you have to experience the city centre or the Parliament Square, which is referred to as Syntagma. You need to walk around the Acropolis. There are they can become a bit touristic during some times of the year, but you definitely need to visit them at least once, or you will see them en route anyway, which are the historic neighborhoods of Plaka, Anafiotika, Monastiraki. Philopappou Hill is such a great place to go for a walk or even see the sunrise or the sunset. The Olympic Stadium, where George finished the Athens Marathon, is definitely something that you need to go to.
It seems like a lifetime away.
My God, yeah, and it wasn't even a year ago.
I know.
Mount Lycabettus is definitely something that is worth a visit, where you can get exceptional views. And of course, the museums, with the Acropolis Museum ranking very high up on the visitors list to Athens, although there are other museums that are exceptional to visit in Athens as well. And I'm also going to plug the theatre in the Acropolis of Herodon Attikou, which we do mention in the episode on the Epidavros festival, which is part of the whole festival during the Sanoma. But you can see some performances at that theatre during other times as well, and I would definitely recommend it. It is such an experience, whether you see a musical performance or a theatrical performance. No matter what you're going to see, it's so, I don't know, it's so breathtaking being part of, being within that historic building, watching a performance.
You're immersed in the ancientness.
Exactly. And it's open air, and the weather in September and October is usually quite good. So it's nice to be out. It's still very nice to be outside. Yeah. So it's definitely worth seeing. And then the next thing that I'm going to plug is, of course, the food scene. And the cocktail bars in Athens are extremely interesting. So do not underestimate them, and definitely check them out. And we do have a dedicated podcast episode on Athens where we actually do talk about some of our favorite places to go there. I don't know, George, is there anything you want to add?
So I think I would say if you have a bit more time, is to check out the Athens Riviera and Lake Vouliagmeni, which is not too close to the centre, but it's doable. You probably need more of a car, and we do have a dedicated episode to that. And then if the weather is particularly nice and you want to take a day trip, there are some islands in the Saronic that you can take. So you could either visit Aegina or Agkistri. So we've got a dedicated episode on Agkistri and what you can do. And it's also an island where you don't need a car. And then my final thing is, when you are in the centre, remember to always look, obviously you're going to be looking up, but look up for the rooftop bars, because every year there's a new rooftop bar that pops up. And Maria, you're not a huge fan, but I am.
No, I'm not.
And we usually go to one at least together. And there's a new one that I've spotted this year, which I'm going to try out and report back on. And so just look up the rooftop bars in the centre, because you will not be disappointed.
Amazing.
And obviously you're going in October.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things to bear in mind if you're there at the end of October, so on the 28th of October is a national Greek holiday. It's a national day. It's referred to as Ochi Day, which means the day Greece said no to Italian troops entering Greece during World War II. It's a very significant day. And to mark this day, there's a parade that takes place around 11 o'clock near Syntagma. But if you do want to go there, ensure you get there early, because there are road closures and there's usually lots of people. Mm-hmm. So at least by 10 o'clock. And I think something similar might take place in Thessaloniki. So make sure you ask a local if you are in Thessaloniki.
Yeah, it does. It does. Amazing. So I think that's...
Have you ever seen that parade?
I think I've seen it once in Athens.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, if you're there, mate, let us know how it is because
I've marched a lot in the parades and on the 28th of October in the ones in Cyprus. But I'm pretty sure I've seen one in Athens. I've not seen one in Thessaloniki, which is meant to be spectacular as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess next time we're in Greece during that period.
Well, yeah, definitely. We'll not forget. So make sure you check out our dedicated podcast for tips and tricks in Athens. And I'm sure we'll come back with more stuff.
We do need to do another few episodes. On Athens.
From our recent trip to Athens in the summer, in August.
Yes.
We've got stuff to share with you.
Exactly. So I think that's a wrap, right?
I do. And I think, as always, before we go, we're going to give our listeners a phrase for the episode. And for this one, we were thinking, what could we do? And I think because October, we're hoping that, weather's going to be not cold. It's going to be quite warm. It's actually, we're plugging a song, but the lyric of the song says, "Δεν κάνει κρύο στην Ελλάδα," which literally translates to, "It's not cold in Greece."
It doesn't get cold in Greece.
It doesn't get cold in Greece.
Yeah.
So, "Δεν κάνει κρύο στην Ελλάδα."
Yeah.
And we're going to put in the show notes the song so you can listen to it and sing along.
Exactly. It's a really fun song as well. I really like it. I think that's it, George. Thank you, everyone, for listening. And if you do visit any of the destinations that we have mentioned above, let us know. Drop into our DMs. Let us know what you loved. And also, share the love and let us know what you want us to share, and we'll share on the Instagram page with other My Greek Islanders.
Yeah, so until the next episode, we've got lots of exciting stuff coming up. So we'll see you on the next episode.
Γεια σας.
Γεια σας. Right, my Greek Islanders, this comes to the end of another episode of this podcast.
Now you know the drill. If you like this episode, share it to share the love with the My Greek Island community, where everyone is welcome. And
don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, and all that jazz, and maybe give us a little rating from wherever you're listening to us from, so you are notified every time a new episode drops. And if you have any suggestions or requests, get in touch.
And for those of you visiting Greece, don't forget to tag @MyGreekIsland on Instagram for a future feature. Until then, see you later, or as they say in Greek,
Ta leme.